over Jim Davis. Jim Davis playing blue-white control, which is a horrible matchup for Ross, but Ross was able to get the job done, and now he looks to be in a favorable matchup. Infect versus Miracles.
Tom was the lowest seed coming out of the group stage, so had to face elimination, managed to stave that off. He's still in the tournament, but he has a lot of work to do if he still wants to make it into day 2.
It's time for a Gataxian Probe here from Ross. He'll see a hand which probably doesn't come as much of a surprise. A Jace, a Top, a Swords, a Brainstorm, a Dig Through Time, a Volcanic Island, and a Mountain. No white mana just yet here for Reid, but you have to imagine that's what the Brainstorm and the Top are for.
Yeah, Miracle's a deck that uses Sensei's Divine Top so well. You have to imagine Reid will keep the hand even in the absence of white mana.
Tropical Island here for Ross. And what does he want to play? How about another Gataxian Probe? See the grip again. Duke will show it to him as Ross will draw a card. And now it's a Glistener Elf, so Tom has played his card, and I'm sure that Reid is not surprised one bit, as these guys have done this song and dance before. Ross was the one who won the last time we did this. We'll see if he can do it again.
And we know that on Reid's side, this is a hand that he would normally like to keep. Now, part of him has got to be nagging and say, hey, Tom's probably playing Infect. This is a dangerous hand to keep. Tom could run you out of the gates.
Yeah, Tom's deck is capable of winning on turn 2. As he looks again with Gataxian Probe and says, all right, what did you draw? The answer is Jace the Mind Sculptor. Here's Noble Hierarch. Attack, trigger, Exalted. Oh no, oh boy.
Invigorate. And Tom may just have this here. Now the question is whether this is lethal, whether Tom's just sticking 4 more poison while he can. Reid's got a Brainstorm. Does Reid have to go fishing for Force of Will? Tom even has a Daze in hand. This is the draw. I mean, this is the draw that very few decks can deal with.
I think you just Daze the Brainstorm, right? And then he's just on a no-for?
He is stone dead.
Okay.
And the turn 2 kill right away from Tom.
Well,
you want to talk about starting a comeback. Tom Ross is doing just that here. See, he's up a game. And you see Reid just all smiles about that one. It's like, there's no coming back from that kind of hand.
Well, Tom Ross, welcome back to the tournament. It's nice to have you with your suit and tie. He is very quickly up a game here over Reid Duke as we now turn our attention to the sideboard. You see Reid, all he can do is smile. I don't think there's any other reaction you can possibly have. This is just what can happen when you play against Infect. We'll start with Reid's sideboard. He has got an Engineered Explosives. That's a nice one in this matchup. A Baneslayer Angel. 2 of a card I'm going to keep a secret from you right now. Is there a couple of copies of Blue Elemental Blast? A Force of Will, a Flusterstorm, a Red Elemental Blast, 2 Spell Pierce, 2 Vendilion Clicks, a Supreme Verdict, a Terminus, and this is a new one.
I'm going to blow the secret. And if you've talked, I got a chance to talk to Reid Duke about this tournament, and he said, you know, he knows this is a bad matchup, and he knows that at least 1/16 of the field is Infect, or 1/15 of his opponents, if you want to say. And he's like, well, I couldn't really win it the first time, and I'm not above playing dirty here. I'm just going to board 2 cards just for Tom Ross.
2 copies of Peacekeeper.
Yes, but Reid is boarding 2 copies of Peacekeeper for this tournament, a card that, if it lands, is virtually impossible for Tom to deal with.
This is something that you would not see unless you know who you're going to be playing against in the tournament. So when you have a 16-player tournament, you can metagame appropriately, something that we have seen Reid do before, World Championships when he played Boggle. And now he's doing it again here. You know he's getting those Peacekeepers into his deck. We take a look at Ross's
you see him just
sideboard.
smiling while sideboarding. Look at this.
He's got something to bring in for the matchup. Now for Ross's sideboard, does he have any way to get Peacekeeper off the table if it lands?
Well, in the main deck, he has a copy of Piracy Charm. He has 3 days and 3 Force of Will to fight a counter war over it. But in short, the answer is no. His literal only answer is his 4 Submerges in the sideboard, but Reid's not playing the right color deck to board those in.
This is true. This is true.
I will wonder, I mean, if Reid Peacekeepers Tom out game 2, just what Tom will do for game 3.
He doesn't draw it. I think
he does not have answers to it.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I suppose he'll bring back in the Piracy Charm if he's sideboarding it out here, but this could be the card that plays a trump here. Again, players don't have access to each other's deck lists. Now, again, coming into this, you have to assume that, okay, Tom is probably playing Infect, and Tom is looking at Reid and going, okay, you're probably playing Miracles, so that's fine, but the exact compositions of the deck is, that's up in the air. So we'll see if either player is able to trick the other in game number 2, and perhaps move on to a 3rd game here. As we'll take a look at each player's profiles before game number 2 is underway. Reid Duke, well, his accomplishments are many. Outside of having the best hair in Magic, he also has a lot of wins as well. 8 Open Series top 8s, 5 Open Series wins, 4 Invitational top 8s, 1 win when we were in Los Angeles a couple of years ago. Season 3 runner-up. The guy he's playing against right now actually defeated him. The invite did pass down when we were in New Jersey earlier this year. And sure, he's got 3 Grand Prix titles too.
Yeah, he's the number 3rd ranked player in the world. I believe one of the only players to play in all of the world championships to date, starting as the Magic Online champion, then getting at-large invitations in the following years. Great finishes at our invitationals this year. Top 8 at 2 of them, got 10th at another one. Just impressive across the board.
There's nothing that we can say, to just really explain how great of a Magic player he is. He's unbelievable. And one of the ways I suppose you can beat him is killing him on turn 2 with Dave's backup, if that's what it takes to beat this guy.
If there has been a weakness to Reid this season, it has been Tom Ross so far.
Yeah, hey, fair enough. They've had some great matches. I think this is the 3rd time they've played on the Open Series, and there you do see the boss. Again, 2-time Invitational champion this year, back-to-back. Won the Season 2 Invitational to qualify, and then he did it again with the Season 3 Invitational win when we were in Jersey. 3 Open Series top 8s, 1 win. Invitational top 8s, 3. W's, 2. He's known for building his own decks and winning with them.
Tom Ross, the current Louisiana State champion, actually, has his own style of deck building. They are all about 1-drops and about winning counter wars or winning board states by basically being able to play more spells than your opponent can. Tom, a huge fan of any spell that costs 1 or 0, just overloads his opponents on critical turns.
It's been an interesting tournament to watch here for Ross, too, because, he started off this thing 0-3. You could tell he wasn't too thrilled with that. Lost to Brad Nelson in what looked to be a pretty good matchup. Nelson at home actually watching the coverage right now. He said, I've never actually watched the coverage from a tournament I'm still able to play in. So, Brad, you can probably hear me. Hey, buddy, we'll see you back here tomorrow morning as your good friend Tom Ross is trying to win another game here and get himself back into this tournament. Brad might have to play him again.
Yeah, Tom Ross's tournament life was on life support after Standard, pulled out a win here, and just may be able to make day 2. We'll see. It'll be quite the comeback if he can do it.
If you're in the tournament, you can still win it. As Ross with just a tropical island before passing the turn back over to Duke. Duke, see, he's going to search up a volcanic island here via Scalding Tarn. Reid is looking to play 2 turns this game, not 1. Looks like mission accomplished so far.
I mean, yeah. So this time, Reid will start. He'll start on a Brainstorm. And yeah, he knows he has to get his game on early here. Now, probably not as early as game 1 would seem to suggest. Those are the kind of draws that Reid really can't compete with. He does, however, draw out a Spell Pierce from Tom Ross there with an end-step Brainstorm.
Well, this is maybe the reason he did cast that end-step Brainstorm, because he wanted to resolve this one. It's a Sensei's Divine Top. The straw that stirs the drink here for the Miracles deck. Inkmoth Nexus is a tough one, however, for Reid to beat. Now here's a Noble Hierarch, and Tom will pass the turn back. He's got a Forcible in his hand. He also has a copy of Vines of the Vastwood, so he's setting things up at this point. Has a lot of permission in his hand. Doesn't have a great way to go explosive like we saw in the first game.
Yeah, and one of the reasons this is a good matchup for Infect in general is because they can be a fast deck with this kind of permission. I mean, Miracles is one of the decks in Legacy that really just pays face value for all its cards. There's no days kind of effect. Force of Will is really the only cost that they try to cheat in the deck. So if Tom has a start with just enough things that he can cast, it's very hard for Reid to break through that wall.
Well, we might have a little fight over this one here, as there's a counterbalance there by Duke. Now you see Force of Will plus blue card there in Ross's hand. A couple of blue options, honestly. We'll see which one he wants to use. He's going to go with Spell Pierce. And we'll see if Reid is able to fight back here, and he is not. So counterbalance is countered, and we'll head back the boss's way. He'll pick up another copy of Inkmoth Nexus.
Tom's got to count his blessings a little bit there. Reid did have the extra land to pay for days, so if Reid had a Force of Will to force back, Tom would unfortunately just have to let that counterbalance resolve. And that counterbalance is a card that's very difficult for Infect to beat.
Inkmoth Nexus is going to come down, and it'll come across for 2, as now Tom will draw out his beautiful Infect counter and say, Reid, you've got 2 of those. I've got 8 more to go, as the Duke will spin the top.
Has he modified his own Infect counter?
He absolutely has. It's a thing of beauty.
That's awesome. He's got a top hat now. I was going to say, I didn't think the original one he had a top hat.
No. It's got the leather coat, but he's got a different little look on that one. Tom is taking a different approach all the way around. No leather jacket for his play either. He's got the suit coat and the tie here.
Just class. Class in every corner.
Now, I think it would have been awesome if Tom, after his 0-3 start, he had changed apparel to go back
to the leather jacket.
The leather jacket.
Suit wasn't working.
But he is a more reasonable human being, so he understands that. It's just the cards not falling his way thus far, but they certainly did in game number 1.
I have switched hats in the middle of a tournament before that has
Did you start?
Needed to mix
Did you
things
start
up, just
winning?
needed to- I don't. No, not enough. Not enough. It was just a bad day.
Here comes Inkmoth yet again. It's a 2-2. Now, Ross does have Invigorate in his hand and Vines of the Vastwood. He could make a move if he wanted to, but he's so patient when he plays against these decks. Always picking his spots well when he's supposed to move in with the pumps, as Reid is going to spin his top yet again.
Well, this is how you see Tom play games when his opponent is on the control route. When Tom has to play into open mana, you'll see him swing one Infector, maybe Exalt it, and just do nothing. Leave up the rest of his mana. He knows that if this board state just continues to repeat itself, Tom will win eventually. He is the player dealing damage, so he's content just to play a staring game with his opponent and make the other player move first.
Well, Reid, no land yet again, just a passing of the turn. See if Tom has any interest in firing off a Brainstorm just yet, and he does not. We'll draw a card for the turn. It's a copy of Treasure Cruise, and he says, hey, this has been working pretty well. Let's do it again. Serve in for 2 more points of infect. See if Reid's willing to make a move just yet.
Tom Ross's deck, one of the ones to be lighter on the Treasure Cruise craze that has swept through Legacy. He has conceded to the card and played 1 in his deck, but certainly not the 4 that you see many of the other decks playing.
Is Tom becoming immense this weekend?
Just
by chance?
only 1 time.
Okay.
But yes.
Reid is going to take 2 more infect. You see Tom slide Inkmoth Nexus back to his row before passing the turn back over to Duke. Duke is reaching. It's a Swords to Plowshares. He'll go after this Inkmoth Nexus that is active, and Tom says, I will cast Vines of the Vastwood.
And one thing I like is Reid is doing this after taking damage, because if he loses this counter war, he doesn't want it to cost him the whole game. If Tom is, say it was something like a Vines with Kicker, Reid did not want to lose to that.
There you do see the Zendikar Common is uncommonly good, that's for sure, especially in this deck.
And actually, that level of discipline with Swords to Plowshares is something that's very subtle, but you don't see a lot of something that you see just players like Reid Duke do. It's not, it's not the common play. Most people would try to kill that in combat.
Swords to Plowshares looks like it's going to be countered, so Vines of the Vastwood does a nice job there. Duke did spin his top while that was happening, so he knows what he's going to draw for the turn.
Yeah. Last time they played this matchup, Reid's finishers, he tried to close the game using cards like Blood Moon to take care of these Inkmoth Nexus style cards, maybe something like Rest in Peace. However, this game he's going for a new 3-mana finisher, which maybe we'll see, maybe we won't.
Yeah, hopefully Peacekeeper is going to come into play, as that's Reid's trump here. The boss will draw a card. It's a copy of Glistener Elf.
Tom's hand's getting
will he
good.
make his? I mean, the question now is, will he make his move? Right? Is he ever willing to pull the trigger on Invigorate? Again, Reid has mana available, and Tom has a Daze, but he doesn't have a Forcible plus a blue card or a Spell Pierce.
I mean, Tom's already got Reid to 6 poison. It doesn't take too many attacks from these Inkmoth Nexi to just win the game without the help of a card like Invigorate.
Quick update for you guys on our backup match. Hopefully we'll have time to jump over there as Chris Van Meter playing Reanimators up a game over Dylan Donegan, our Season 4 Invitational Champion. The 17-year-old playing Blue Red Delver again, currently down a game. As Tom is going to serve in here for 2 more. In fact, Reid is up to 8. He can't take another one of these blows. Duke is going to spin the top. Is he able to find what he is looking for? You have to imagine there's a Terminus floating around there somewhere. He just hasn't been willing to pull the trigger just yet.
Yeah, Reid's looking for that opportunity to make his move. He can't play defense forever here. And whether his move's a card like Counterbalance or Peacekeeper, eventually he's going to have to find it.
Reid quickly draws and passes his turn back over to the boss. Ross draws another copy of Glistener Elf, so those aren't going to matter all that much. Now Tom's figuring out which way am I supposed to activate my Inkmoth Nexus. He's going to go with Noble Hierarch, Exalted Trigger. Well, Reid, it's time to make a move, and here is said move. Draw, Terminus.
And there's so much play here. Tom having the option to swing 1 creature versus just swinging 2 Inkmoth, and then, one plays better around removal, but 1 plays better on Terminus. Tom here, once again, making the right call.
Glistener Elf will be the follow-up. We'll see if this will resolve. It'll be a dig-through time here from Reid. This is probably pretty big. Now, what's interesting about this is Reid is going to take a look at the top 7 cards, well, we thought, as here's a Daze. Now, one of them would have been a Sensei's Divine top. I was curious to see if he was going to let that go or not, but top is just going to be his draw here. So Daze actually pretty nice there from the boss.
he does manage to snag a card with his days. He's got to be pretty happy about that. If that dig through time would resolve, there's a chance that Reid finds a 4th land and a Peacekeeper and kind of drops the hammer on Tom. Tom, remember, unaware that this is a possibility.
Sensei's divining top. Duke will pass the turn back. Ross, he'll draw. Picked up a copy of Noble Hierarch. Don't forget, he's had that Invigorate over there for some time. Has not had to pull the trigger on it just yet. How he wants to navigate this turn is a little bit interesting.
Noble Hierarch, a great draw. It forces action once again from Reid. Tom already had the option of activating and double swinging, which is he's going to do now. Does Reid have another Terminus, then would be the question.
Well, let's spin the top and see, shall we? Reid going to consult his hand along with the top 3 cards of the library and extend the hand. Tom Ross is going to win this match here over Reid Duke. 2-0. Reminds us of the finals of the Season 3 Invitational in New Jersey. In fact, taking down Miracles, and for a player who started 0-3 in this thing, he is rallying back, and now Reid Duke is up against the walls. If he loses another match, he is out of the tournament.
Yeah. And Reid Duke, his kryptonite this season, Tom Ross, hits him again. Even with the anti-Tom Ross sideboard, it's not enough. He is not able to take a game off of In Fact.
Not able